Hi guys, Mollusk here, and I thought I'd just round off 2017 with one of my customary updates. Have a quick look back at the things that have happened during the year, and then looking to the future and discussing where we might go in the new year to come. So for my gaming in 2017, tournaments have been the big thing. The way the rankings work for Malifaux, your top 4 best results are used to calculate your rank. And I did manage to get to 4 tournaments this year, which was great. My initial goal was to get to within the top 100 and happily smashed that, which I'm obviously pretty pleased about. But as I've started to get involved in the tournament scene and played more games, it's been interesting to realise that rankings really only mean so much. I've won relatively comfortably against some quite highly ranked people and really struggled against much lower ranked opponents. There is a rule of thumb. People ranked in the top 30 will reliably hand me my arse, and I find I can expect a roughly even game with people in the 50 to 100 bracket. So I kind of see things in those kind of broad categories. Looking at where someone tends to place over multiple tournaments has been the best indicator, I think, of player skill that I've noticed. But then again, the guy who is my toughest opponent doesn't even play tournaments. So who knows, right? It was something interesting to notice anyway. As for the experience of playing the tournaments, I really enjoyed it. They were really good fun. Got to meet some really sound people. Every single one of them was a gentleman or a gentlewoman. 0 negative play experiences. And in all honesty, some of the most interesting games I've played. And a big shout out to the organisers of all those events as well. I don't know if you followed, you may have done, you might not have, but I soloed McMorning, Resurrectionists, through every game, and I had an absolute blast. I feel he was really strong in 2017 gaining grounds. The core crew I kept finding myself coming back to, could handle most pools, and most importantly was really thematic, as I just love his poison shenanigans. Love this guy, and I think I found my favourite and default master. So yeah guys, I had a pretty good year, met my goals, even came away with a bit of silver, and got to play a whole lot of McMorning. As I record all my games for the videos, I'm able to make some stats. So yeah, looking back on all the games I played this year, 41 games, which I think is exactly as many games as I played last year. And yeah, totally unimpressive, pretty much win as much as I lose. Although I'm going to say Yan Lo is a big part of this. As of the 12 games I played with him this year, I won 3. Dragging me down, man. And with the number of tournaments I played this year, I think the quality of my opponents has also gone up, which is a great thing. Having a look at the meta a bit, Outcasts are my most frequently faced opponents, and Gremlins the least. It's interesting as I fought quite a lot of Gremlins in 2016, but overall there's been a relatively even spread between most of the factions. Of the Masters I faced the most, there was a 4-way tie at 3 games each, between Sonia, Ramos, Pandora and Parker. Also played Lynch 3 times, but that was split between Neverborn and Thunders. So again, there's quite an interesting spread between different factions. Sonia's been knocked off her perch a bit, possibly reflecting some of the changes and the rise of Nelly, but mainly in my case I think the guy who I started playing the game with, who played Sonia, so we played quite a lot in previous years. Haven't really played him this year, need to get him back into the game. But I think it is kind of telling that I've faced 27 different Masters this year, so I really do play really quite a broad meta. That may however be partially biased by the Master Challenge I set myself at the beginning of the year, where I set out to try to showcase every single master in the game on the channel in at least one video. I'm afraid I wasn't up to the task, my friends, and a number of the blighters still elude me. They're here on this list, and so I'm gonna keep going into 2018 and see if we can't knock some of these guys off. Oops, just caught a typo on the reward. You get no dollars for facing me, but I will make you a star, baby. So what do we got to look forward to in 2018? Well, sadly I'm not going to have much gaming time, for reasons that I'll talk about in a bit, so I'm going to have to be a bit more selective about my games. What I really want to do is get a second Resurrectionist Master that I can be pretty confident with. The idea behind this being that when I rock up to a game or a tournament, I'm probably bringing McMorning, but if the pool's wrong, or I just fancy mixing things up a bit, I want to have another master I'm competent with to throw in, as a second. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of these two, Molly or Yan Lo. I really like Yan Lo. Even the games I lose with him, which are most of them, I just really enjoy. However, in terms of being competitive, I was starting to think that the people around me who are saying he's trash might possibly have a point after all. I mean, better players than me have tried to get him to work and failed. So I decided to commit and take Molly out as potentially a more competitive master to support McMorning. However, with the changes for 2018, Yan Lo is really now pretty solid. I can definitely see skilled hands taking him to the top tiers. So conundrum, with my limited gaming time I want to focus on one of them, but who's it going to be? I'm already familiar with Yan Lo, I know I love his style, and I keep looking at getting around 18 scheme pools and thinking, yeah, Yan Lo can do that. So I reckon he is the sensible pick, but Molly just seems to have a really interesting flavour. I've only played a couple of games with her and they went horribly, but I'm really interested in her Alpha Strike, really quick game, all or nothing potential, and the wide variety of models she seems to be able to bring in. And ultimately she's a shiny new thing that I'm obsessively trying to figure out. So ultimately I'm still undecided about who I'm going to main next year. Watch this space. In terms of who else you might possibly see in the upcoming year, this is my current stable. Probably not going to play these very much at all, but if you really want to see one of them, bug me about it in the comments enough and I'll try to make it happen. You know I love Kolodi and want to get him out at some point. Lilith's and Zoraida's new upgrades, I'm really interested to give a try. Do enjoy a nice bit of Mei Fang. And I have managed to get hold of the alternative Misaki and Nicodem models, Amelia Bathory, whatever she's called. And you know once I paint them up, I'll be looking for an excuse to get them out on the table. Obviously I want to try to keep my McMorning sharp, and I think it will be important to branch out and try out his new upgrades. Possibly maybe even experiment a little in Guild. But that's a bit indulgent and we'll have to see. Basically you can tell already that sticking to one of these two may be a little tricky. Especially when we consider the other systems that I have lurking in the background. Beastmen, I loved my Beastmen. They were such a special part of my my hobbying. Just not interested in Age of Sigmar. 9th Age was fine, I enjoyed it, but the rules kept changing and I just couldn't be bothered to keep up with it. Especially given how much fun I was having with Malifaux. So yeah, I reckon they're likely to remain out of the picture for a while. New 8th edition 40k sort of interests me a bit. It's been ages since I've taken out my Dark Eldar Talos farm. I definitely would be interested in trying out a small scale game or maybe a kill team for a bit of casual fun, but I'm definitely not going to go out and try to make it happen. Someone is going to have to approach me, I think. Which leaves us with Guild Ball. Now here's an interesting game. Picked it up this year after Insidiously Mad got me all enthused for it, and the catalyst was that certain of my friends who don't play war games actually expressed an interest in it. And I now play it semi-regularly with one guy who we're learning together. I haven't been posting videos up of every game like I do with Malifaux because, to be honest, the video quality of Guild Ball reports out there is just, the bar is so high. My shitty little reports really aren't contributing anything. I find the influence allocation and sort of, well, it kind of is like a resource distribution system pretty different from anything I've done before. I super like how small scale and simple it is in comparison to Malifaux, and also that Scatha and her team are the only models that really do anything for me, so I'm not really tempted to expand anywhere. So there's a good chance I'll play some more games of these in the coming year, and possibly I'll put up a report or two if I feel they're interesting enough. But ultimately, in terms of depth of game experience and overall enjoyment, I prefer Malifaux, and that's where the focus of the channel will stay. So I mentioned that my time to do gaming won't be in as great a supply this coming year, and that is ultimately because I've been doing some spawning. My wife and I recently did a baby, as Tim Minchin puts it, and so you might have noticed that content has slowed down a bit recently, and maybe that I've become a little bit more active on the forums, as it's turned out to be quite useful for getting through the long night as we try to figure out how Mollusk Jr. works. And basically that should put all the hopes and dreams that I just discussed into a bit of perspective. I will still have time to play games. I won't have as much time as I used to. Making videos on top of that will also compete for time, and so maybe I won't be making videos of every game. They certainly won't be as regular as they have been over 2017. We'll have to see how it goes. So I guess to summarise, 2017 was a great year for tournamenting for me. and in 2018 I hope to cross off the last Masters from my Master Challenge and become competent with a second Resurrectionist Master. Maybe play some Guild Ball. Thank you for your interest in following the channel. It's been great to chat to some of you, and I think we've had some good times. I'll see you in the new year, hopefully. Take care.